Your phone is ringing. You look at it and do nothing. Congratulations, you just became a professional call ignorer. Your heart speeds up, your screen goes dark, and a strange relief appears. But here's the question no one asks. Why does a simple phone call feel heavier than a real conversation? Why does your body react before your mind decides? This is not about manners, not about technology, and definitely not about being antisocial. It's about what your brain does when control is taken away. 1. This is not about being rude. Most people think avoiding phone calls means you don't care, that you are impolite or emotionally distant. But look closer. You answer messages. You reply later. You stay connected. So the problem is not communication. The problem is how communication enters your life. A phone call does not ask if you are ready. It arrives and expects presence immediately. Your mind reacts before your values do. 2. What really happens in the first second? The moment your phone rings, your body reacts. Your muscles tense, your breathing changes, your attention snaps. This happens before you form a clear thought. That reaction is not fear of talking. It is the feeling of losing control. Someone else chose the moment for you. Your brain notices that instantly. 3. Why phone calls feel heavier than real meetings. Here is something interesting. Many people who avoid phone calls can talk for hours in person, handle deep conversations, discuss difficult topics, as long as they are prepared. A phone call removes preparation. There is no warm-up, no context, no clear ending. You are expected to be present now. For the brain, that feels demanding. 4. Control is the core issue. This is the central point. People who avoid phone calls are not avoiding people. They are avoiding forced immediacy. On a phone call, you must respond right away. You cannot pause to think. You cannot choose the pace. You cannot step back quietly. Your voice reveals everything. Avoiding the call feels like taking control back, even if only for a few seconds. 5. Why texting feels safe and comfortable. Texting creates distance. It allows you to pause, think, rewrite, choose silence. There is space. That space makes the mind feel safe. A phone call removes that space completely. That is why people say, "I'll call back later." Later feels safer than now. 6. When calls became associated with stress. For many people, phone calls carry emotional memory. Calls that began with, "We need to talk. There's a problem. Something happened." Over time, the brain learns. Ringing equals tension. Now even harmless calls feel serious. The body reacts first. Logic comes later. This is not imagination. It is conditioning. 7. Introverts and the cost of interruption. Introverts do not dislike people. They are sensitive to mental energy. A phone call interrupts inner focus, breaks emotional rhythm, creates uncertainty, especially when it comes without warning. Silence is not emptiness for them. It is recovery. Avoiding calls becomes a way to protect balance. 8. Overthinking happens fast. The phone rings, and instantly the mind asks, "What if this takes long? What if it gets awkward? What if I don't know how to end it? These thoughts appear in seconds. The brain simulates pressure and chooses the fastest escape. Do nothing. 9. Why, I'll call back often never happens. After the call stops, relief appears. The tension is gone. The brain learns something important. Avoidance worked. Next time, the reaction becomes faster. Not answering turns into a habit, not because you don't care, but because your mind remembers relief. 10. Is this behavior actually a problem? Not always. If you reply later, explain your preferences, stay emotionally present, then avoiding calls is not a flaw, it is a boundary. But when every call feels heavy, when avoidance becomes automatic, when distance grows in relationships, that is worth noticing. Not fixing, not forcing, understanding. 11. What this pattern really says about you. People who avoid phone calls are often thoughtful, sensitive to pressure, aware of emotional responsibility. They don't resist connection. They resist being pulled into moments they did not choose. Their mind works best with space. 12. A quiet but important truth. The goal is not to answer every call. The goal is to understand why your body reacts before your decision. Awareness does not erase habits. It softens them. And soft habits are easier to live with. Your phone rings. You don't pick up. That doesn't make you broken. It means your mind is protecting its limits, sometimes a little too well. How do you react when your phone rings? Do you answer or wait for silence? And what do you think your mind is really protecting? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone who never named this pattern before. This is the if verse, where your mind becomes easier to understand. Subscribe. There's so much more to explore. Thank you for watching.